January 29th, 2025. Dr. Kemi for Kemi Talks Media. One of the reasons Africa cannot progress is because of our leaders. That's our line. Our leaders are corrupt. Our leaders are always corrupt. The next leader is corrupt. That's not the reason why. That's part of the reason. The main reason is because the US dollar is too high and will never come down until Africa becomes independent. What did Mr. Trump say on his first time as president when he had his first term? He said the list of some shithole countries, and Nigeria was one of them. Shithole countries. Has anything changed in 8 years? No. Africa will never be independent except for the independence they got from the British. Okay? The Portuguese, the French, whatever. Okay, the French rule some of these countries, like Burkina Faso, where the leader is 38 years old. And what did he say? He said, we've been receiving aid from France for 60 years, and we're still poor. Today, Burkina Faso removed themselves from ECOWAS, along with 2 other countries in the Sahel. If you keep giving somebody transportation money when they come to your house to clean, the cleaning lady gets a salary. It's her responsibility to take a bus, a cab, or however to your house and clean and go. It's her responsibility to catch whatever she's catching to leave. But if you're the boss and you're giving her transportation money every time she comes to clean, you're not giving her transportation money to come to your house, but you're giving her to go. She will keep expecting that transportation money and will never have that transportation money. She has it, but she will never use it because she's expecting your free one. And this is how it is with aid from all these countries that we're getting aid from. Let's focus on America and let's focus on Nigeria. Look at the chart that I have here. You see the logo of the World Health Organization? Okay, the logo of Africa CDC and the logo of the CDC in the United States. Anytime you hear CDC, it stands for Center for Disease Control. That's the famous meaning of CDC. And it's usually the Center for Disease Control in America, the United States Center for Disease Control in Atlanta. I lived in Atlanta for a few years, and I can tell you that the kind of work the CDC does is really global. When we had Ebola, the director of the CDC was on Twitter constantly giving updates about the Ebola locations around the world, namely Nigeria, Congo, Liberia. And a Liberian man who is Liberian American actually traveled to America, okay, came back, got sick, even went to Nigeria and finally died. So everywhere Patrick Sawyer went, they tracked it. Others died during the Ebola epidemic. So the Center for Disease Control's job was to monitor who's coming in, who's coming out. The same thing with COVID, the pandemic. The CDC was on high alert if there's a new variant coming out and whatnot. So the CDC has been monitoring many diseases globally, even though they are an American agency. They've become so popular in doing the work for the world. It's American owned. After a while, Africa decided that we should have our own CDC. It was a good idea, and we have Africa CDC. The African Center for Disease Control did a pivotal part with the pandemic, and I was watching them along with the Nigerian agency too. I think that's NDIC or something. Every one of these health bodies in every country also look up to their grandmother, which is the World Health Organization. That's why it's called the World Health Organization. President Donald Trump signed an executive order to remove the U.S. from the World Health Organization, and people called him a madman. Do you know why he removed America from the World Health Organization? First of all, let's go back to the Africa CDC. You are not going to lower the US dollar until you start becoming independent in your various African countries. The US dollar is still going to be very, very high, and it will go higher and higher. The man has said America first, make America great again. Our children are suffering in America with bills, and they're struggling to get a place to live. And America is dishing money out to every country. Is it about time it stops, or isn't it about time? You got to remember something, the politics of healthcare. I am a pharmacist and I studied retail, clinical, institutional, consultant, pharmacy in general. I'm also a health educator, which came as part of my work as CVS, health education, and also CVS ProCare, fertility drugs and HIV drugs expert. I have a lot behind my 35 years in pharmacy. You only know me as a journalist. At the end of the day, when you have a World Health Organization, okay, where is the money coming from? The WHO, United Nations. The money the WHO is dishing out to countries to treat health conditions, to monitor and to prevent and give education, where is it going to? The hands of your leaders. Because of the breakdown of the WHO, Trump also has programs with US aid, okay, United States aid to every country, PEPFAR, United States President's HIV program for different countries, 55 countries, and the United States is dishing out a lot of money that the World Health Organization seems to be also dishing out, but the work is not being done in those countries. What about the money the Africa CDC gets from the World Health Organization? How much money are they getting at the African CDC? Who is managing this African CDC? Who are the doctors there? Some of the money they are getting from the World Health Organization is supposed to be going to the African countries to manage the HIV, polio, AIDS, and everything. So money is flowing in too many directions. Do you understand what I'm saying? Money is flowing in too many directions. We're given a specific amount of money for Ebola, about 50 million. 2 states contained Ebola. That's the only 2 states that had it, Rivers and Lagos. And at the end of the day, what happened? We had $30 million left behind. It was clearly looted. The EFCC came to the Federal Ministry of Health to arrest people. They got away through the back door. I'm not talking about a term here. I'm talking about what actually happened when they stormed the health department. The people they were looking for ran outside the back door. I've seen enough in Nigeria. I commend Trump for leaving the WHO. It's the best thing. America's funding too much, and Americans are suffering. Africans are also suffering because all the money America, WHO, Africa CDC is dishing out is not reaching the people. Until we stop taking aid, the dollar will be forever high. Good luck, everybody.